AITA for telling my father who has end-stage cancer that he was a horrible and abusive father. Some context. I am 35 years old. My 67-year-old father has end-stage lung cancer and is going to die soon. I wish I could say that it's sad for me and that he doesn't deserve it, but the truth is my dad was a huge a-hole when I was young. He was mentally and physically abusive to my sister, myself, and my mom. Not a day went by in my childhood where I didn't wonder what was going to set him off that day. We lived in fear of his name-calling and physical assaults. It finally ended for me when I got married at 17 and left home. My mom finally left him as well, but the damage was already done. I went through depression, anxiety, and tried to off myself twice. My ex tried to be there for me, but I was too broken and my issues ended my marriage. After endless counseling and hardcore life events, I have finally tried to make peace. I basically cut my father completely out of my life. Fast forward to 3 years ago. I received a call from my father's second wife. She told me that he had been diagnosed with lung cancer and that he would really like to see me and he wanted to talk to me. I stupidly thought that he had finally realized the pain he caused my sister, myself, and my mom, and that he wanted to apologize. I had not seen him in 10 years at this point and had to admit I was fearful to see him. But when I walked into his house, I saw a fragile old man that looked as broken as I felt as a child. But the 2 hours I spent there, he never apologized. In fact, all he could talk about is how he couldn't understand why my sister and I shut him out. I left more angry and confused by his behavior than before. Even sick and on the brink of death, he couldn't admit the suffering he caused. I didn't really go and see him again, but his wife kept me updated, and about 2 months ago I finally got the call telling me it would be soon. I am not sure why I decided to see him again. But I did. His brother and sister were there, as well as his second wife and her 2 kids, my dad's stepkids. I decided I was going to let it go and I was just going to drive over there and say goodbye and leave. But when I got there, the anger was still there, and then all I could hear around him was his siblings talking about what a good person he was and how he tried his best for his family. His stepkids praised him for what a good father he was. How loving and caring. I think that cracked me. I went to him and told him how I felt. That he was a horrible father and he made my life and my sister's life a living hell, and that's why we cut him out of our lives. Plus everything else I was feeling. I basically let it all out over his hospice bed. And he just looked at me. So I left. My aunt and uncle, his sister and brother, called later on that day to tell me what a horrible person I was, and that even if that did happen, I should have just let it go and forgiven him because he is dying. Now, I'm starting to think maybe I was being a AH. It didn't even make me feel better, really. AITA?